There it is!
Yes!
Yeah! Did you find it?
Yeah!
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things you don't know will kill you.
Lee, I got a big problem, man.
For this list, we'll be looking at everyday things that can prove surprisingly dangerous and fatal. Will you look at these things differently in the future? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10. Too much coffee. For most of us, the day can be quite hard to get through without a cup of coffee, or 5.
My God, that is the best coffee I've ever tasted.
But we just have to remember to keep things sensible, because things can turn ugly. Granted, there's a very high barrier to fatality when overdosing on coffee, but it is possible.
You're drinking too much!
Whoa. Too much caffeine can put an incredible physical strain on the body, and it's estimated that between 50 and 100 cups of coffee could prove fatal if consumed in quick succession.
It's like when you report weather. Rain over a day, 30 millimeters, no problem. But in 20 minutes, that would be a big problem with flooding. That's the same thing that might happen in the heart if I give you a lot of caffeine all at the same time.
The primary method of death in this case would be cardiac arrest. While coffee is relatively harmless in small doses, caffeine itself does not get the same pass. Just 1 teaspoon of pure powdered caffeine is enough to kill someone. Number 9. Plucking nose hair.
May I pull on your nose hair?
Of course, sir.
This can be an arduous task, yes, but it seems harmless enough. It hurts, and maybe you sneeze a few times while your eyes water like crazy, but other than that, we don't give it a second thought.
It hurts.
But did you know that plucking nose hairs can actually lead to death? Again, the chances of this happening are extremely low, but a low chance is not an impossibility.
Got it. Yeah, long, greasy one there, Hilly.
Ripping hair out of your skin follicles can lead to infection, and if this infection travels through the bloodstream from your nose to the brain, then it's pretty much game over. Fatal complications like acute bacterial meningitis and cavernous sinus thrombosis may result if the infection gets out of hand. Or out of nose, in this case. Number 8. Dryer lint. Please, for the sake of your family and your house, clean out your dryer every once in a while. This is one of those things where you think, yeah, I'll get to that eventually. How important can it be?
We've always been diligent about taking care of lint, but even with that, these kinds of things can happen, and it's more common than people think.
It's very important, and not doing it can eventually prove fatal. Dryer lint will accumulate not only in the filter trap, but also in the exhaust vent and even the dryer itself.
And cleaning the lint tray is just the beginning, especially in winter weather when drying heavy blankets and sweaters.
We don't know if a system has impingements that make it more prone to lint buildup.
Sooner or later, this pile of highly flammable material may catch fire and burn your house down. The U.S. Fire Administration claims that 5 people die in the nearly 3,000 dryer-related fires that occur throughout the country each year.
Besides cleaning your lint trap with each use, consider also cleaning behind the dryer where lint builds up. Also, check and clean your exhaust vents at least once a year. And every 2 years, take the back of your dryer off and vacuum inside.
Number 7. Hot tubs and baths.
Damn, it's good to be here with y'all again, man. It's good to be back here with you guys. Yep. I want to toast to the good time and you too, young blood.
The thing with hot tubs and baths is that they're typically accompanied by alcohol. And as we all know, water plus alcohol does not a good combination make.
What should I know?
Between 1999 and 2003, the Scripps Howard News Service conducted a study in which they analyzed mortality records from around the United States. They found that in the 5-year period, 1,676 Americans were reported to have drowned in hot tubs and baths. This is an average of 335 per year, or about 1 hot tub or bath drowning per day. Next time you want to wind down in some warm water, maybe forgo the booze.
But I ruined everything, Maddie. I'm sorry. It's fine. It's fine. I need to be best friend. What's going on? Sweetie, it's okay. Oh, God. Just get out of it.
Number 6. High altitude. Humans can survive a lot of things, but we were meant to stay on the ground. Humans who travel 8,000 feet above sea level will start to suffer from altitude sickness owing to the lack of oxygen in the air.
Once you get above 8,000 meters, it's the closest thing to being in outer space. The lack of oxygen itself just completely trashes your body. Your body starts to basically, what they say is consume itself, is uses so much energy that you do have left over to function that it just can't even survive very much longer.
Most people will suffer from the likes of headaches and dizziness, but the further up you go, the worse it gets. Once you reach 26,000 feet, you're entering the death zone.
In the death zone, it's hard to describe how painful it is and how difficult it is to do even the most simple thing. You just don't have the oxygen you need. What that means is our cells are dying at a much higher rate than they can be regenerated, so our bodies are very quickly breaking down.
Once here, there's not enough oxygen to sustain life, and humans begin suffering from fatal edemas of the lungs and brain. In fact, many mountaineering deaths are caused by extended stays in the death zone. It's best to listen to your body. It's trying to tell you something.
To reach the summit, which affects decision-making, and that alone is enough to call it the death zone.
Number 5, drinking too much water. Humans are weird. We need water to survive, and our bodies require that we consume it every single day.
That is so good.
But drink too much of it, and our bodies go haywire before shutting down completely. Water intoxication is very real, and it occurs when excessive amounts of water throw off the body's meticulous concentrations of electrolytes and sodium. The good news is that it takes an excessive amount of water to prove fatal.
Electrolytes circulate in our bodies. The most common, sodium. Consuming too much water can dilute the electrolyte levels in our blood. To rebalance these levels, cells absorb the excess water, making them swell, which can have lethal consequences.
However, many people have died from water intoxication, and it's typically the result of drinking contests or guzzling down enormous amounts while exercising.
In the United States, mother of 3 Jennifer Strange died after entering a water drinking contest staged by a Sacramento radio station. With so little awareness of the condition, radio announcers dismissed concerns raised by listeners.
They say all things in moderation, and yes, that even includes water.
Now drink your f***ing water before you drop dead from dehydration.
Number 4, Windex and bleach. Obviously, Windex and bleach are fatal if consumed. We invented child locks for that reason. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about mixing Windex and bleach while cleaning.
Everybody needs to understand that reading the labels is very important, and just because one does a great job doesn't mean it's going to accelerate by adding another one.
Windex contains something called ammonium hydroxide, which is known simply as ammonia. Saying that ammonia does not mix with bleach is a massive understatement. When the two combine, they release chloramine gas, which can quickly prove fatal in a small and poorly ventilated area.
When you inhale these cleaning substances, it's so incredibly irritating to your mucosa, and it can be very toxic.
Here's a golden rule. Never get creative with household cleaners. They'll mess you up.
If you've got little babies crawling around on the floor and you're using chemicals to clean the floor, those babies are absorbing those chemicals through their hands and their knees and their feet, or if you walk around barefoot in your house. So it's a really good idea to use natural solutions.
Number 3, being too tall.
Everything's okay.
Many things on this list are completely preventable, but not this.
Whoa! Damn!
If you're born too tall, then you're born too tall. There's nothing you can do about it.
You sure you're not too tall for this? Nah, it's gonna be great.
Unfortunately, this comes with a much shorter life expectancy. Being too tall increases your chances of developing various diseases and conditions like bone infections and an irregular heartbeat. Of the 3 tallest people in recorded history, none have lived to be older than 26. The tallest human that we know of was Robert Wadlow, who stood 8'11" and weighed 439 pounds. He died in his sleep at just 22, owing to an infection that was exacerbated by an autoimmune disorder.
The thing about him is that for someone who was the world's largest man, a man who stood out no matter where he went, he seems remarkably to have been well-adjusted.
Number 2, drinking too much soda. If there's one thing to take away from this list, it's that consuming too much of anything proves fatal.
How is that? I mean, you sure you want a diet drink? You don't want something with some sugar in it?
There's only diet. It's good.
Too much salt can kill you, provided you consume 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. And then there's soda. Soda is obviously loaded with sugar, and too much sugar wreaks havoc on the body.
Studies show the more soda you consume, the more likely you are to experience chronic issues such as obesity, diabetes, and even heart attacks. Over 40% of U.S. citizens consume at least 1 soda per day.
One study published in JAMA International Medicine claimed that drinking just 2 glasses of soda per day increases the chance of premature death by 17%. Another, published in Circulation, proved that daily servings of soda increase the chance of cancer death by 5% and cardiovascular disease by 10%.
But the next time you take a sip, consider the sugar, taking your body on an insulin roller coaster and potentially adding a whole lot of unnecessary calories.
If you want a long and healthy life, stick to water. But remember, not too much of it. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Number 1. Sitting. The human body was meant to move, and if we don't move enough, we die.
No, you should go outside and be with the 3-dimensional people.
No. Inside, good. Outside, bad.
Sitting too much is horrible for us, increasing the risk of diabetes, blood clots, weight gain, and dementia, just to name a few. But it can also be deadly over time, as it increases the chances of heart disease and cancer.
In fact, researchers have worked out that worldwide, inactivity causes about 9% of premature deaths a year. That's over 5 million people.
One study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine found that sitting for more than 13 hours a day resulted in a 200% greater risk for early death than sitting for just 11 hours. It's amazing what just 2 extra hours can do to us.
You've got to do more than just stand up. You got to have to go ahead and get some motion in place. But then the upside, the benefit is by doing that, you start to counter then the negative impact of sitting.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.